Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Edna Keep here, and we are on Free Coaching Friday, getting all your real estate investing questions answered. Chandel reminds me to wait a bit before everybody starts. It takes people a while to get jumping on here, I just want to ask a few questions as people are popping on. How was your New Year's celebration? Have you set some goals for the year? And what's your big plan for 2017? What's your big, hairy, audacious goal that you're going to be working on? That's the kind of stuff I like to ask people at this time of year. Okay, so. Let me just see. Can everyone hear me okay? Can you see? I see you've got Jackie on here, Amanda, Jake. Good morning, everyone. How are you? And she reminds me that people need time after receiving the notification to get on. Oh, there we got some more. Hi, Lawrence. How are you? Good morning from BC, Amanda. How are you? Hi, Jackie. So, one of the challenges I have this morning is my printer does not want to work for me. So I usually try to have some notes in front of me, but I have to take it right off my computer this morning. So everything might seem a little delayed, but that's okay. We're going to get it done. First of all, I want to give a big shout out to all the students that joined the 90 Day to 5K program. Right now we're sitting at 30 between the ones that joined who started December 6th and the ones that are joining January 10th. So I'm pretty excited about that. And what a great group. Like, some of these people I know already, and they've got some experience. So I'm really excited to see how many people get some properties by the end of the 90 days or shortly after. I'm going to be monitoring that. Also really excited to share with you all the other stuff that we have coming up this year, because with the program that everybody got, they're getting a mindset training, which I think is really going to blow the socks off of everyone this year, because I do believe that success in anything is 90% your mindset on it. Because if you think you can or think you can't, you're right, and there's just no way around that. A few things that I've been reading and catching up on lately, because I'm always working on this kind of stuff, is the questions that you ask yourself during the day. So this is kind of a homework assignment that I want to give everyone before we get started. And as you're popping on and going back and listening to the recording, do you ever ask yourself, why do I have so many bills? Why can't I ever seem to get ahead? Why is this so difficult to learn? What else? Why do I have to do everything around here? Oh my gosh, that's me. I say that all the time at my house. So, I mean, it's just something that we have to be aware of and then change those questions, right? And I mean, my family's excellent. This morning, my youngest daughter comes out of her room and I'm unloading the dishwasher, and she just jumps in and starts helping. And yet every once in a while I get this little bee in my bonnet that I do everything around here. So watch those questions that you ask yourself, and start asking yourself some really empowering questions. Questions like, what would it take for me to come up with $1 million idea? How come I'm so lucky to have such a great family? How come I'm so lucky to just have such a great life? You know, isn't it wonderful that even though I have bills, I have income coming in to cover it? All those empowering questions that make you think, questions that give you something to shoot for and give your brain something to shoot for. Because the article I was reading just recently, it says, you know what? The universe gives us exactly what we ask for. And if we keep saying, why do I have so many bills? Why does this happen to me? Why am I having such a bad day? the universe only hears the words and they give you more of what you're asking for. So change those questions to what you really want. Why is my income increasing every single week? Why am I getting such great opportunities? What else could you ask yourself that would be empowering? Why do I have such a great sleep every night? Why do I wake up energized every day? What's so great in my life? What kind of person do I have to be? What kind of person gets $1 million ideas? And then grow yourself into that person. So that's my challenge to you: is start asking yourself those empowering questions every day. Does that make sense, everyone? I'm just going to have chat here. See, I have a whole bunch of people joined on while I was going through that little rant. Audrey, good morning, Audrey. Lawrence says he's fine. Glad to be here. Awesome. And Amanda says, amazing amount of new people in the private 90-day course group. Everyone's so energetic and supportive. Yes, you know what? We really love that. We can't be in there every single day, although we do try. And it's so nice to see other past students helping out the new students. I mean, it is so awesome, and welcoming everybody. That's a powerful, supportive group, and we really want to build up this community that everybody's in to help others, and only win-win situations. Good morning, Dean, Shirley, and good morning, Dave. Good morning, Drew, and Audrey says, thank God for coaches in our lives. Absolutely. That's the other way to really get more of what you want in your life. Be grateful for what you do have. And another thing that I was reading this week, I know I probably read more than 90% of the world out there, but I love it. So it's easy for me to do, is one of the things that really holds people back is not forgiving. Everybody has challenges in their lives, but if you focus on the challenge and don't just forgive things that have happened to you, it actually holds you back. So go with a forgiving heart. Realize that, somebody might have snapped at you, but you don't know. Maybe their dog died this morning. Maybe they have a sick child. Maybe they have a sick mother. Compassion, and forgiveness. If somebody snapped at you, they might regret it themselves later. Just let it go. There's no point hanging on to that kind of stuff. Good morning, Dawn. Good morning, Mark. Okay, perfect. Well, you know what? I do have a few questions here from last week. If you guys want to type in the question box any questions that you have, I'll absolutely come back to them. One of the questions I had from Linda was, I'm just getting started in real estate investing and wondering if it makes sense to find a realtor first or to just go and look at buildings on my own with the realtor that's selling. That's a really good question, Linda. One of the things that I teach my students in the 90 Day to 5K program, it's actually the first thing, is build your power team. So get a realtor on your team. Interview a lot of them. I know our first tendency is to go with someone that we know. That's absolutely normal. We did it. It's easier than looking for a real estate investor realtor, because there's not many real estate investor realtors out there. If you can find a real estate investor realtor, that's the best. And if you have a sister or a brother or an aunt or an uncle, you know what? You can help them, but you also have to train them. You have to be adamant what you're looking for. You have to be adamant, and if they want to be your realtor, they have to teach you, or they have to follow what you're teaching them and bring deals to you that fit, because otherwise they're just wasting your time. And you're wasting their time. You don't know how many realtors I've ran across over the years where I've told them, hey, I'm a real estate investor. I like up-down duplexes, and particularly these areas. And they go back to their office, they look up like 50 of them, and they email it to me. Guess what? I'm busy. I'm not going to look through your friggin' email. I'm going to, you know what? The realtors who get my business are the ones that say, you know what? I found 50 deals, Edna. I'm going to go look at them because I know there's things that you told me you don't like. I'm going to go look at them. And if I find something, I'm going to then email you that we should have an appointment, or text you or phone you. That's what the one fellow who found us the most up-down duplexes when we were buying them, because we're not anymore, that's what he did for us. He was a real estate investor. He understood the rents in the area. He knew that I wouldn't buy a property that stunk, so he never took me into any of them. And I know a lot of people don't mind that. They fix it themselves. It was a big thing for me. I figure if it stinks that bad, I don't even want to be in it. So find a realtor who will do that for you. If they don't, they're not your kind of realtor. They're kind of lazy. So if you know what, you need to have somebody who'll work for you. But if they're working for you, you make sure you buy through them, because nothing ticks a realtor off more than them doing all this work for you, and then you go buy through your aunt or your uncle or your sister who just got their real estate license. So that's a big thing, because you know what? They won't do it for you anymore. You won't get those deals that they have. So remember that. And then the other question she had is, do all realtors have knowledge of creative finance? No, very few do, as a matter of fact. That's why you want a realtor who's also a real estate investor, because they understand creative finance. They're not scared to ask for a vendor take back. I don't know how many times at the beginning when we were trying to train our friend, when we would try to ask for a vendor take back. And oh no, they won't do that. They won't do that. It's because they don't know how. We even had a new realtor recently who said she, oh, sorry, my cleaners are driving up and my dog's announcing them. So just give me 1 second. It is her job. I can't give her too much heck for it. We're out on an acreage, so we kind of like having a barking dog. It's just annoying when I'm doing Facebook Lives. Anyway, no, not every realtor knows creative finance. Not everyone's even trainable. We've had people go back to their head office and say, ask them about vendor takebacks. And the head office actually said they're illegal and you can't do them. You used to be able to, but you can't anymore. That's a lie. So that's why we're getting them every day. We're asking for them every day. So don't let that happen. I'm glad you agree with me, Mark. I can't remember exactly what point it was, but good morning, Dawn. Good morning, Glenn. Good morning, Drew. Drew says, how many years did you invest before getting your first apartment building? What was your aha moment that got you into it, and how many doors did you have before it happened? Let me see if I can remember the answer to that. I remember the year that we started working on our first apartment building. We started investing in, our first purchase was September of 2007, and they were condos. And condos were it was actually used to be used as an apartment building. And it was in 2008 that we started working on our first apartment building. So I would say, I think it was later 2008. So we would have had the 2 condos, actually the 3 condos in the house on King. We had 4 properties when we bought our first apartment building. And how it came to us, because this is actually really interesting, because we were like everyone else. We thought we needed to have 100 houses before we could start moving on to apartment buildings. And so we were actually a friend of mine who used to work with me as an assistant at my financial services practice, moved back to the city, and she said, Edna, I want to find a way to work with you. What can I do? By the way, this is a great thing to do with somebody who you want to mentor under, is see what you can do for them. So anyway, she said to me, Edna, I want to work with you again. What can I do? And so I said, well, you know what? I really need a realtor who understands real estate investing. Can you find me one? Well, she started looking around and she said, you know, I see this fellow's name everywhere. And she says, why don't I set you up an appointment? So she did. And she came with me to the appointment. And we met a couple different times. He sounded like he really knew what he was doing. He was selling apartments. He owned apartments. And that really made me understand that he knew what he was doing. Plus, he started talking to us about a concept of condo conversion, which was something that was going on in our area right then. And so he said to me, Adam, well, why don't you buy an apartment building? I had another appointment with him. And I said, well, I can't buy an apartment building. I only own 4 properties. And he said, yeah, you can. And I said, really? And I said, I don't even think I'm ready for it. Like, I don't even know what to do. And he says, well, I can walk you through it. He says, you've got a good net worth. You've got partners that know how to property manage. He says, I can set you up with whatever you need. Let's go for it. And I said, okay. Well, I said, well, do you have a building? He says, actually, I do. He says, I got a 24 unit right now that I think would be really great for a condo conversion. And he says, it's priced at $75 a door. I think you should buy it. And I said, okay, let's buy it. I said, well, how much would it take to buy it? And he says, it's going to take $1.8 million. He says, that's what their asking price is. And he says, you know what? I would offer that to get it, because the way that things are going, if you don't give them their asking price, you're going to get outbid. People are going to come in. He says, I just know what's going on in the market. We're selling these condos for $125 a door. So if you buy it $75,000 a door, which was the price, you're going to make some good money on it. So I said, okay, write up the offer. He says, well, don't you want to look at the building? And I said, yeah, I'll go drive by while you're writing up the offer. So I went and drove by, because by this time I knew that you don't base your decision on the looks of the building, but on the profit and loss. And because he told me that, and he went to work on writing up the offer and getting all the details that we needed. So we got our offer accepted, and that was our first deal. So my aha moment was, because somebody else told me I could buy an apartment building without having 100 houses. And he did. He had done it too. And he'd helped a lot of other people do it as well. So that was my big aha moment. And he said, I'll walk you through it. I'll work with you to get it done. I'll work with you on the condo conversion as well. So that was really exciting. And yeah, so 4 doors. So not a ton. Okay, next question from Aaron. Last week you mentioned buying businesses with management completely in place. Will you be offering training on that as well? Good question again, Aaron. You know what? I'm just learning that myself. So I will be offering some training. Just so you know, it goes first to my mastermind students, because I got tested out first. I don't just take it out to public for everybody who doesn't even know where to start. So maybe eventually, we're only on module 6, but you know what? I sent my homework back to my coach yesterday, and he sent it back, and he started, I had a couple questions in there, because there's, of course, when you're learning, you don't know everything. And he pointed out things to me already that I wouldn't have thought of. And it's called bolts on, but anyway, the terminology is different from real estate. So I'll be talking about it, because I'm very excited about learning about it. I'm only in module 6 so far. There's 18 modules of learning. Fortunately, some of them are short, but I will be sharing it. But mainly to start with my mastermind students, because I got to be able to see that other people, because I tell people sometimes, you know what, if I can do it, you can do it. And I've had people come back to me and say, oh my God, Edna, you're kidding. They say you've done so much. Yeah, but you know what? I started with 1. I started with taking the course. I started just like everyone else. So yeah, I maybe feel like I'm light years ahead now, but I'm also really good at simplifying things. So if I can learn the complicated subject and simplify it for the rest of you, well, that's my goal, because I love sharing the wealth and I love sharing my knowledge. Question from David. Have you ever done a rent-to-own deals? You know what? Yeah, we've done plenty of rent-to-own deals. I really like them if we get the proper tenant in place. Personally, don't deal with tenants myself. So when I'm looking for a rent-to-own deal, I want the tenant screened and the property picked already. I want the tenant, I want to know exactly when the tenant is going to be able to qualify for a mortgage. And the partners that I want to deal with are people who bring them to me already screened and ready to go. And then what I've done, my expertise has been raising the capital for those deals. So you can do it, of course, 100% yourself. But you know what? Just so you know, you might screen 100 applicants before you get a really good one. So to me, I don't have time to screen 100 applicants. But you know what? If you screen 100 applicants and bring me the tenant, I know I can find the money for it because I know that they can be really good deals. I've had many investors make really good money on rent to owns, had some very happy tenant buyers, and we've had a few that walked. Like, I used to do rent to owns with an old partner. Tenants weren't screened properly, and lots of them walked. They didn't do the necessary part about meeting with the mortgage broker to know that they're going to qualify, and we wasted a ton of time. Now, didn't hurt us so much because we still own the property. So, you know, that's kind of your worst case scenario. You still own the property or you sell it out. But you need to screen the applicant. You need to have them sit down with a mortgage broker. And there's a couple specialists in our group, just so you know. Andy Choi and Joe Migadell are both rent-to-own specialists. So if you have really detailed questions on that, ask them. But if you come across a really good rent-to-own tenant, shoot it out to me too, because I can help you run through that. And maybe even you're one of them yourself. Good rent-to-own tenant has a sizable deposit and the ability to cover the rent towards saving for the rest of their deposit. Sometimes the client has all the deposit, the full 5% down, but can't qualify for different reasons like self-employed, not long enough, new immigrant, death, divorce, downsizing. Like those are primarily the reasons. Bad credit lots of times comes to me because a spouse ran up their credit cards. Sometimes it's lost a job for a while. So there's lots of really different rent to own. You know what? I'm going to have a workshop on rent to own, a full one by a specialist soon. I don't have an exact date, but if you're interested, put it on here and we'll make sure you get on the list because it is a really great way to make money. And even if you're just the investing partner, because investors like it, they can make really good money. For an example, my client Myrna has been through I think 4 rent to owns with me. The first one was closed in 11 months. She made 36% on her money, and I made $5,000 setting it up. The second one was a 3-year rent to own. I believe she made 85% return on her money over those 3 years. The fourth one, and I made $10,000, I think, on that one. The third one actually failed. The couple had a good deposit. They were able to do the extra rent, but it failed because they divorced. They couldn't make their marriage work, and which is really sad. But you know what? They were excellent tenants. They left the place in really nice shape. It was just vacant for a few months, and my client ended up breaking even on that after she sold it with a realtor and everything. She still broke even. And then the fourth one she did ended up being 2 years longer than we expected. But you know what? She's patient, and if you're patient with the right people, it works. And she made 189% return on her money in 5 years. And I believe on that one, I made $15,000. So we've had many success stories. There are times, and this is why it's so important to screen those tenants. Either you make sure that the deposit's high enough, everything. There's just bases that need to be covered to make sure it's good rent to own. What are my favorite type of investments and why? Well, you know what? I really like apartment buildings. I do like rent to owns, and I like getting properties under agreement for sale because, and I love getting properties with vendor take back. So I steer away from fix and flips. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. we just don't have the expertise, and it's not how we want to build our wealth. We don't need another job. We do fine with the income that we have coming in from what we have, so we don't need it. My husband still thinks once in a while he'd like to do a fix and flip, so who knows, it might happen. Wholesaling is not something that thrills me, but my very good mentor, Shelly Hagan, who's our very first coach, is excellent at it and has done many. And she's going to be at our 3-day event, so you'll get to hear more about it from her. And then agreements for sale. We're actually doing a workshop too in April, because again, I can do the overview of it. We've done many agreements for sale, but my expertise is not teaching it. So I'm bringing in an expert from Alberta, Barry McGuire, who's done many, many agreements for sale. It's a great way to make money. And again, without a lot of money out of your own pocket. And sometimes you can make money off the hop, which I really like. So he's going to be speaking at our 3-day event as well. And he's going to do a workshop for us. So watch for that. Okay. So Chandel wants me to shout out to a few success stories that we have in the group right now. So Drew is going to get a big shout out. He actually texted me last night and he said, Edna, I'm really starting to realize that I'm lacking in my professional network, and why I really need to build my power team. And the reason is because Drew's growing really, really fast. He started with me in June, got his first couple investors like almost immediately, like within 6 weeks, I think, and now has a $9 million deal under contract. Now, do you think that that's stressful? It is, because that's a big deal for anybody. That's a big deal. Our first few deals were not even that big, and so he's a relative, and I mean he's got a few of his own properties before he ever started with me, so I didn't have to teach him all that. But Power Team is huge. So that's a learning curve he's going to have to go through, right? And lots of times, unless you're in the middle of a big deal, you don't even really realize. And one of the things he said is a lot of people just sit back and go, "Bring it to me, Drew, and I'll help you with it." Well, you know what? Sometimes you need upfront help, and that's again where you get the experienced team to help you with that. And if you've got a realtor, mortgage broker, I used to have different realtors that say, "Hey, any deal you want, bring it to me and I'll only charge you 4%. And I go, why would I even bring it to you? If I already found it, I might as well just negotiate it myself. That's a lazy realtor again. So you don't want the lazy realtors. You've got to train them, or you got to find them, one of the two. So big shout out to Drew, because I know this is challenging. And I also seen that he posted in the 90 Day to 5K group about one that he was working on in PA that someone else got an offer in, and I'd be interested to know too. But of course, the realtors won't tell you that. They can't tell you till everything goes through. Okay, what else do we got? I have another student right now who's working on a cash deal, got an investor involved that's looking at totally paying cash for a property and upgrading it, and then financing it. So that's really exciting. And then of course, Corny and John, we're still working. We're actually just waiting to hear back from our investor. They have all the paperwork, so we're waiting to hear back from our potential investor in the US to see if it's a go. So that should happen this month. What else do we got? Rob is working on a nice big deal right now. Now Rob's a new student too, just started in December. Minimal real estate experience, and he's working on a really nice apartment building deal right now. I'm not going to give any details on it. He's got it. I think he's got the offer in. Not sure if it's been accepted yet. And so just know that it can happen. And Rob has only been working with me since December 6th. But guess what? He's done every bit of his homework, He's worked on his power team. He's looked at deals, and he's working on making it happen. And he's asking all the right questions. Edna, does it make sense to get a hard money loan for stuff like this? Edna, I've lined up an investor. He doesn't want part of the deal, though. He only wants interest. Does that work? Absolutely, it works. So you know what? You learn a lot in 4 weeks. So I'm expecting a lot from these students here coming up. Another thing, and you know what, another thing, so my mastermind is next weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and all my students come in, and we have a 2-day powwow, and we learn a lot, we network, we mastermind, great things come out of that weekend. But Friday afternoon, I'm actually working with some of my students. I'm training them to be coaches so that they can help me, because we're growing so quickly. And Friday night, because we have that free, we are actually thinking about having a cash flow night game at my house. So if anybody's interested in doing that, let us know in the chat box. We'll get hold of you with all the details. It would start at 7 o'clock Friday. We'd want to be done about 9:30. So we'd probably just have time to play one game. I only have 2 cash flow games. So if more people have the game and they want to participate, bring them out, because the most we can probably play on one game is 6. So I need probably more games than to make sure that it can happen. We could always get more people in there. It would just take longer. We probably wouldn't be able to finish the game, but heck, that works too. And so let me know if you want to attend, and we'll get that in there as well. What else do I got in here? Good morning, Corny. Lawrence says, if a realtor is also an investor, would he not keep the great deals for himself instead of selling them to us? Well, you'd think so, Lawrence, but you know what? They can't buy everything. Just like we can't buy everything, you can't buy everything. So they will maybe keep the best. It's hard to say. But again, they can't buy everything. I know many of the realtors, like they run out of money too. They run out of investors. I've got realtors in my mastermind group because they want to learn how to raise capital. So yeah, it might happen, but they can't buy them all. Absolutely. So, and what you want to do too is you want to make a relationship with that realtor so that you're the first person they think of when they bring you that deal, whether it's a duplex or fourplex or 36 units. You want them to think of you first, because that's how you get the best deals as well. Terry says, good morning. Good morning, Terry. Kelsey, Dallin, hey, my niece is on here. Kelsey, I'd love to teach you how to buy real estate. You're a smart cookie. Carney says, good morning from frosty Manitoba. Yeah, it's frosty here today. Oh, and Courtney says, frosty Vancouver Island. Well, geez, we don't even expect that, do we? Terry says, I'm really looking forward to going through the course and get my first building. I have a country property I'd like to buy, but it's out of my reach until I increase my income and net worth. I'll say, what else do we got? Yes, you know what, that happens to all of us. I think we all have some dreams at some point, but you know what, the best thing to do is to get started. Courtney says, I've seen more rent to owns go sour than go well. And you know what, that's true if the tenants aren't screened properly. And you know what, sometimes even when the tenants are screened properly, it will happen. That's why you want to make sure that the property is a good property, just in case you end up with it. Because again, that's your worst case scenario. I end up with a property I didn't really want. I either have to sell it, or I have to find another rent to own tenant, or I have to keep it as a rental. But I've had many that have gone right. So Courtney says, I'm interested in learning more about rent to own scenarios. Okay, perfect. Well, we do cover that in the 90-day course, so you're going to learn, and we will have some training. I want to talk first to Joe, who's actually a graduate of the 90-day, and you get to see him in here quite often, and see if he's ready to put on a whole course. The person that I took my course through, really like him. He was excellent. He was fun to listen to. But some of the things that he's doing is so complicated. I know I don't even want to learn them. So we'll see what happens. Mike says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Mike, too. You're looking very handsome in your suit. Drew says, Credit Karma is a new app that helps people track and improve their credit score. It's free and gets amazing reviews. I'm thinking it'd be a great tool in a rent-to-own scenario. You know what? It will help people improve their credit rating, but I still use a mortgage broker because the mortgage broker will tell a person what has to be done. Most people, Drew, won't do the work it takes to increase their credit score by themselves. I'm not sure how complicated the app is, but if you have to meet with a mortgage broker once or twice, they say, okay, get this credit card paid off, or sometimes it's get a credit card in your name because you don't have one. Use it to buy groceries, pay it off every month, something to build up your credit rating. So that's why I like to use a mortgage broker. Bill says, please put me on the list for the rent to own. We will. Absolutely, Bill. And Courtney says, hi, Drew, does it affect the person's credit when they use the app? That's a good question. I don't know. Hey, good morning, Earl and Donna. How are you? Mark says, Barry is the guru. He is, isn't he? I love listening to him. Every month I get my RAIN CDs. So I was so excited when I had the conversation with them, and they're interested in coming to the event. They've already committed, and they're going to put a workshop on. The workshop for the agreement for sale in Regina, Saskatchewan's April 8th. Mark it on your calendar. It's a one long day workshop. You'll learn a lot. Oh, I'm jealous. Mark says he got some of his homemade jam. I hear about his homemade jam every what would that be, spring and summer when he's giving it away to different people. So maybe I can get on his list too. That's awesome. And his wife Dawn is amazing too. So I'm looking forward to that. And I just have to give this little shout out here too. The RAIN Group in Alberta, Real Estate Investment Network, that I've been a member of since 2007. They, the other day when I was listening to the CDs, Patrick Francie, who's the CEO, was looking for people to be on his podcast. So I answered immediately and I said, I would love to be on your podcast. I love everything that RAIN's about, and I follow their principles. They've been amazing, like the checklists and the behind the iron curtain that Don Campbell does is absolutely amazing. The book he wrote, Real Estate Investment Strategies in Canada, Russell Westcott's book, Joint Venture Secrets, great stuff. I've learned a ton from these guys. You'll hear a lot of stuff that they say regurgitated out of my mouth. Anyway, so they got back to me. I'm going to rewind a bit. When I was talking to Donna McGuire, I said, you know what, I've been working on Don Campbell this is my third year to have a live event. And I said, I've been working on getting Don Campbell here. And I would just love to get him here. And she says, well, you know what, let me see what I can do, because I know them quite well. And oh my God, that would just be huge if we could get Don Campbell here. So when I sent this response to Patrick saying I'd love to, put a shout out for RAIN or, help them. I've been a member since 2007. My biggest knowledge came from them. The only downside I had is they very, very seldom talked about Saskatchewan. So I had in all the Saskatchewan stuff, and now Manitoba too. And anyway, he says, and besides talking to you about the podcast, I also want to talk to you about your event in March. So, look at what could be happening here. This is exciting. Okay, what else have we got? Courtney says, hardworking. Yes, Courtney is a hardworking realtor. I met Courtney, I don't remember exactly. We were at something together, and she reminded me so much of my very first assistant, Petra, who I absolutely love. And so I absolutely believe she would be a very great hardworking realtor for you. And guess what? She's in the course, so she's going to learn everything you learn and know what you know. And she gives her best deals to her best clients to stays top of mind, and she says, and I'll take care of you. And she's in Vancouver, BC, or on the island, I should say. Chandel says, this is so exciting. Thank you. Oh, and my cousin Connie Jessica is on the line. Welcome, Connie. I so miss you. We need to get together here one of these days. Okay, 10:39. And you know what? I've got so many questions here. I don't even know where to start. Anyway, let me know about cash flow night if you guys can make it. We're going to do that. I'm going to fast forward through a few things just because there's so much. A reminder, every Monday, 10 a.m., we are doing Mindset Monday. And so this is where we're going to talk about getting your mindset in the right frame of mind. and bring your questions, and you'll probably get some exercises from me. I want you to do the exercises and then let me know how they're working for you, and let me know if you notice a change in your life. Courtney also says, great things come to great people who are not afraid to ask. Awesome. And I can refer to realtors across Canada. Now, would those be realtors who invest in real estate, Courtney? Just answer me that while I see what else I got on here. So Mindset Monday I talked about. January 9th is the next one. Oh, January 11th, for all the people that are in my 90 Day to 5K program and my mastermind students, I am doing a 2-hour planning and strategy session, which is all about sitting down and planning your life for the next year. I always make the comment that more people spend more time planning a holiday than they do their life. So we're going to sit down and spend 2 hours together working on what you want your life to look like for next year. And you know what? If you sit through that 2 hours with me, you'll do more than 95% of the population. So come prepared to work. I'm going to talk some. Most of it's going to be silence while you're working on it. So know that. You're going to get some handouts that you're going to be writing on, so you don't need to worry about having a notebook, and that'll get just posted where you can access it. So anybody who wants, well, actually, I think everybody's already got the invite for that. So just make sure you go and register because you have to register to be able to get on the webinar. Okay, what's next? Courtney says, I can refer to any realtors you want to work with. I'll receive a referral fee on any deal that it generates. The best realtors are also investors, so it's worth asking. Absolutely. So if you're looking for a realtor through Courtney, ask about if they're real estate investors as well. 2 people in our group as well that are real estate investors in Saskatchewan is Ashley Otto and Pat Abel, and they're both in the group as well. So they're very, very good as well. They're also in my mastermind, so they know what we talk about. Okay, what else? And they've, I know Pat's done many vendor takebacks, even when they were building their own portfolio. So that was pretty exciting. Okay, perfect. Does anyone else have any questions? Thanks for all the hearts and the little thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And again, for anyone who hasn't been reminded, the 3-day events coming up March 27th, 28th, and 29th right here in Regina. Mark it on your calendars. Details coming soon. We're still working on the venue. I believe we have one booked, but I haven't got full confirmation and pricing and all that kind of stuff. So I actually put it out today. If I didn't hear back, I'm going to look for a new venue. So that is perfect. Courtney says, real estate agents can likely help you grow your groups of investors, as we constantly have clients who can no longer buy on their own. Perfect. So, hey, you sound like a perfect, you sound like a dream realtor, Courtney. So this is awesome. Okay, well, you know what? If there's no more questions, we're at just about 10:45. So that's like 45 minutes in. I'm amazed how long I can stay on here and keep talking. So thanks everyone for being on the call, and see you Monday, Mindset Monday, and also next Friday for Free Coaching Friday. Remember to share this with anybody else who might be interested, either in the mindset training. Mindset training is good for everybody. And anybody remotely interested in real estate. I mean, the Free Coaching Friday is a great place to start to learn and see if it's something you might be interested in exploring further. So have a great day, everyone, and we'll talk Monday. Bye for now.